Hello, fight fans, and welcome to another edition of Monday Night Fight Talk. As always, I am your host, Dylan Brewski. A couple things before we start today. If my voice gets a little raspy, I do apologize. I was at the UW versus Michigan State game a couple days ago, and there was a lot of yelling, a lot of excitement. I am a UW fan. We pulled off the major upset, so there was a lot of yelling involved. And plus, my girlfriend is planning our room and where to hang stuff up on. So to do that, she put brown paper on the wall. Don't mind that. There's really nothing to do with anything. Nothing's wrong. Just planning some stuff out. So just starting those two announcements off. But we just received huge news yesterday morning / afternoon time. The legend himself, Jose Aldo, has officially retired from MMA. As much as I understand the decision to the fullest extent, it still sucks to see a legend like him go. Especially with the performance that he put on in his last fight, where it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, against Merab Dvalishvili. So that really, it sucks, but I mean, we got to witness greatness when it came to Jose Aldo. He's still arguably the greatest featherweight to ever walk this planet. He is a legend in the truest sense. He's without a doubt a future UFC Hall of Famer. I don't think anyone can dispute that. Always one of the most entertaining fighters to watch. So just wanted to start it out with a congratulations to the King of Rio himself, Jose Aldo, on his retirement. I hope he'll still be around. I'm sure he will be. Helping young fighters, whether it be coaching or if he wants to get in the commentating booth for maybe some of the other broadcasts. I don't know if his English would be good enough to do the US one, but I'm sure he could find a career doing anything when it came to MMA, just because of his past and the legend that he has become in the MMA community. But on a more downer note, another fighter misses weight. Yet again, another fighter misses weight. This is getting ridiculous. We had, I believe, 3 missed weights for UFC 279, including a heavyweight missed weight. You missed weight at heavyweight? And those 3 missed weights, the 3 bouts that I'm talking about, don't even include the short notice Jailton Almeida's opponent, the Li Jingliang, the last 3 fights, those little shakeups. That's not even including those. Those were 3 fights that were completely separate from that ended up being a different weight because someone missed weight. This is getting ridiculous. And now we have Aspen Ladd, who just had her 3rd fight get canceled. This is her 3rd UFC bout that has been canceled because she missed weight. What are we doing? Literally, what are we doing? 3 fights that you missed weight at? I know there's not much of a featherweight division at this point. It's basically Amanda Nunes and then one-off featherweight bouts that people decide to have, which I'm all for. But make Aspen Ladd fight at featherweight. If I am any bantamweight in that women's division, I'm not taking a fight against Aspen Ladd. There's no way I'm taking that fight. Because she's gonna miss weight more than likely. I mean, come on. I don't know really what the UFC could do to make it more motivational, but they have to try something. I mean, I know I keep saying it, but 3 times you have missed weight? 3 times? I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't do that. You can't do that to your opponent, especially when you are a top 10 bantamweight like Aspen Ladd. It's not like she's facing just random one-off opponents. She's facing Sarah McMahon was one of those. I can't remember the other two off the top of my head, but they were both against ranked opponents that she's missed weight over and over and over again. I mean, there's got to be something that you can do, especially in Aspen Ladd's case, to avoid having this happen time after time, because it's getting ridiculous. I feel for Sarah McMahon in the fullest. I mean, she's a veteran of the game, highly respected by her opponents, or most opponents, I should say, because obviously Aspen Ladd doesn't care, or else she wouldn't have missed weight for a third freaking time. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm tired of it. But on a more inspirational note, I should say, let's get into some fight reactions. I have 4 fights that I'm going to go over today. Starting off with one of the prelim bouts, Damon Jackson taking on Pat Sabatini. The biggest reason I wanted to talk about this fight is it was just an inspirational performance by Damon Jackson, who tragically lost his brother 5 days previous to this fight. He lost his brother on Tuesday. I can't remember off the top of my head how, but that it doesn't matter. Losing a family member, especially an immediate family member, is never easy. I could only imagine the mental toll it took on him this week, trying to cut weight, trying to do all these things, and still mourn your brother. Unbelievable, inspirational, just out of control. Getting a KO victory for Damon Jackson is huge in itself. Getting a KO victory over a gritty veteran, a guy as tough as Pat Sabatini, is something even better. I mean, it was just an incredible performance by Damon Jackson. Congratulations on your win. I speak for myself. Hopefully I speak for a lot of you. We're here for you, Damon. You're a great fighter. I hope that this wasn't too much for you, and you can continue to be the great fighter that you are. And obviously, 100% RIP to his brother. Another impressive performance, though, on this night was by a guy who just competed on the Dana White Contender Series 2 months ago. Not even 2 months ago, actually. Like 6 weeks ago. Joe Pyfer knocks out Alan Amadowski in the first round. He has just, in the 2 times, or I guess we've seen him 3 times, he got injured and lost his last Contender Series bout back in 2020, but was able to come back for this year's Contender Series, put on an amazing performance, got a KO victory in that one, earned himself a contract on the Contender Series, and then, like I said, not even 2 months later, back in the octagon, taking on a tough guy in Alan Amadowski. That guy is serious business, and he looked unbelievable. A KO victory. I mean, you can't get any better than that coming under 2 months off of the Contender Series. So huge congratulations to Joe Pyfer for getting that first UFC win under his belt. And now I can't wait to see where this guy goes in the UFC, because I think he is an absolutely tremendous talent to have on the roster, and he's shown it in the short time that he's been in the UFC. And now for the co-main event of the evening, an action-packed fight, a bloodbath, and one of the nastiest cuts I've ever seen. I'm so tired of looking on Twitter and seeing Gregory Rodriguez's vein in his forehead that's still attached. I can't believe that he was able to go on. Not saying that the doctors were wrong, because they did control the bleeding, and that's a big part of what stops these fights, is that the bleeding was controlled by the time of the second round. So big props to the Cutmen, because they had a busy night as we're about to get into the main event right after this. 2 straight bloodbaths of just nasty cuts. But Gregory Rodriguez, man, is just one of the toughest guys. RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez taking a clean, the truest sense of a clean knee right in between the eyes, and it didn't even faze him. I mean, what a monster to just take a knee like that and just keep going and not really even be affected. I mean, he seemed a little dazed, but who wouldn't be? But most guys, that's knocking them clean out. They're going to sleep after a knee like that. Just unbelievable. And not only that was he able to recover quickly, he actually was able to recover and come back in the first round and almost finish in Jokawani. That's what that guy just did. And then the second round hit, and it wasn't that long in the second round. Gregory was able to land the takedown where he obviously had the huge advantage on the ground and was able to get the ground and pound TKO victory. So congratulations to Gregory Rodriguez. Crazy performance by him. And now moving on to the other bloodbath. Corey Sandhagen taking on Song Yadong in the main event. This was such a back and forth fight. This was an absolutely amazing fight. It shows how great the bantamweight division is. I mean, this was 4 versus 10. Looking at it back and like after rewatching it, I'm like, this is like 4 versus 5. That's what it looked like. That's how close these guys were. But in the end, you could tell that Corey Sandhagen did have a major experience advantage in this matchup. He was picking his shots better, especially as the fight went on. He was doing so many different things that basically every time he went for a takedown, he feinted for a takedown, feinted for a shot. Song Yadong was just making these big movements, setting himself up, doing exactly what Corey Sandhagen wanted him to do. Song Yadong, I don't want to sit here and act like he didn't have a great fight, because he was absolutely phenomenal in this fight too. I mean, 1 for 14 on takedowns. He defended 13 takedowns from Corey Sandhagen. So that was big. He stayed in the fight even after having that nasty, nasty gash right above his eye. He has a ton of raw talent, incredible hand speed, incredible power, like I was saying last week, and obviously great takedown defense. Like I said, Corey Sandhagen only landed 1 of 14 attempted. He did also rock Sandhagen a couple times, which is not easy to do. This is a guy that went the distance with both Piotr Jan and TJ Dillashaw back to back. So, I mean, this guy, Corey Sandhagen, is a tough dude, and Yadong rocked him a couple times. At the end, though, the cut was just too bad. I mean, he admitted fully after the doctor stopped it. He went up to Sandhagen, who was bummed about it ending like that, which I get from his perspective why he didn't want it to end like that, because it was such a back and forth fight. But there's no shame in losing like that, or winning like that, I should say. He had a great performance, and Yadong came over and was like, I just can't see. Because after Sandhagen landed that takedown, all the blood was just going into his eyes. He couldn't see anything. So kind of an unfortunate ending to a great fight, but also you can't look back on that and be like, well, he didn't truly win. It was an injury. Well, I mean, it was a back and forth fight. I think it was a great fight. Wish we could have gotten an official decision, but nonetheless, still an amazing fight between two just absolute warriors. Both of those guys just left it all in the octagon. So congratulations to both, especially Sandhagen, on getting the win. But one more thing with this fight I want to touch on is afterwards. Corey Sandhagen had a sort of odd call out. I was very surprised to hear him call out Rob Font, especially considering he's sitting in the bantamweight rankings right now. He's between Merab Dvalishvili and Chito Vera. You're a top 5 bantamweight. I know you've lost to basically the top 3, the champion Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan, the former champion, TJ Dillashaw, the former champion, and who's fighting for the championship next month. But it's still just weird to me to call out somebody that has lost 2 straight fights, that's not in the top 5. And this is no disrespect to Rob Font. I like Rob Font. I think he's a great fighter. I've met Rob Font. Very cool guy. I like Rob Font a lot, like I said. And I agree with Corey Sandhagen. Rob Font's an amazing striker. But I feel like when you're a guy that's in the top 5, you got to be shooting high with your call-outs. And that's why I'm saying another fellow top 5 contender like a Chito Vera right below you at number 5, or the guy right above you with Merab Dvalishvili. I like both of those fights. I think both would benefit Corey Sandhagen a lot more than a fight with Rob Font would. So just a little weird on the call-out. I'm not saying I wouldn't watch Corey Sandhagen and Rob Font. I think it would be an amazing fight. But if I'm Sandhagen, I'm shooting for a little bit higher than Rob Font. And again, no disrespect to Rob Font. One of my favorite fighters to watch. Look at his last fight with Chito Vera. He left it all out there too. Chito just landed the more significant strikes. But this is a short show today. We got no UFC this next weekend, so there's no predictions to be made. Thank you all so much for listening to this week of Monday Night Fight Talk. Next week, we'll be giving our predictions for UFC Fight Night. Mackenzie Dern taking on Yan Xiaonan in the main event. Big matchup in the women's strawweight division between 2 top 6 contenders, I believe it is. I believe they're 5 and 6 right now. And also, I will be reacting to UFC 285, headlined by Benson Henderson and Peter Quayle over in Dublin, Ireland. So that will be very exciting. So I'll be reacting to that. And then, like I said, predictions for UFC Fight Night. But until then, you can find me on Instagram at Monday Night Fight Talk. You can find me on Twitter at MN Fight Talk. I'm going to say it every single week. Feel free to shoot me a message on either one of those platforms. Comment on this video. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, I'm more than happy to do that, whether it just be a response to your comment or adding it to my video next week. I'd be more than happy to do either of those. But again, thank you all so much for listening. Find me here, same time, same place next week, Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Monday Night Fight Talk.